Milwaukee fans have been waiting to see the NBA Finals return to their city for 47 years. And I'm sure the Deer District right down there is ready to do its thing as the Bucks need that extra push to try to dig out of an 0-2 hole for the second time this postseason. Meanwhile, Chris Paul calling tonight the biggest game of the season for the Suns as they look to take a commanding 3-0 lead. It's Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and we're with you for the next hour to get you set for it all. Live on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the ESPN app. Welcome to Hoop Streams presented by YouTube TV. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth in NYC. We have Big Perk coming to where in the world is Kendrick Perkins right now?
Perk, I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere right now. I'm in Houston,
I know,
Texas,
that's right.
but I'm still everywhere. I'm everywhere. It's the NBA Finals.
You don't need to tell us that. I mean, we see you every single second of the day talking about these NBA Finals, and we're loving it. And David Jacoby joining us from New York as well. We'll check in on our friends in Bristol in just a bit. But Perk, the Bucks 7-1 at home this postseason, but they're hosting the NBA's best traveling team. Suns 24-12 during the regular season, gone 6-2 in the postseason, closing out all three of its series on the opponent's home court. How much of an advantage do you give the Bucks for being on their home court tonight?
You know what? I give them a huge advantage because I feel like that energy, the crowd, the role players are going to play better. Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton, you look at their numbers on the road, at home versus being on the road is mind-boggling to me. But also, I think you look at guys like Brook Lopez and P.J. Tucker, those guys are going to step up tonight. P.J. Tucker has not played and imposed his will on this series yet. I feel like he's going to knock down those corner threes. I feel like he's going to go get those offensive rebounds and putbacks. I feel like he's going to put his stamp on this series tonight in Game 3 like Mikal Bridges did.
Jacoby, do you think being back home will play into how tonight goes for Milwaukee?
I absolutely do. However, it's not just Milwaukee. So, Cass, I don't normally do research for shows, but I love hoop streams. It turns out that Holiday and Middleton aren't really that much better at home than on the road in this year's playoffs, but you just don't expect the Suns to shoot 50% from three like they did. They were shot 20 for 40 from three in Game 2. I don't see that happening on the road. So it's not so much what the Bucks are going to do at home. It's just the Suns' performances we've seen in Game 1 and Game 2 have been outstanding. I don't expect that to continue in Game 3 on the road.
Well, speaking of Pfizer form, you two stay put as we head out to the sidelines as it's time now for tonight's real-time update presented by YouTube TV, and we welcome in Malika Andrews, who of course is working sidelines for tonight's game at 8 Eastern on ABC. And Malika, we were just discussing whether the change in scenery for the Bucks works in their favor. What are they saying about being back on their home court and how that's impacting their mindset heading into tonight's Game 3?
Well, Cassidy, they're absolutely looking forward to have a different, maybe more familiar scene here in Pfizer Forum. But Giannis Antetokounmpo said, we know there's a lot of pressure, right, that comes with, one, hosting our first finals game in nearly 50 years, but on top of that, coming back here in a 2-0 hole. But he said, I'm not trying to focus on that. I'm really trying to keep it light. I'm really trying to keep it fun. Yes, we know the importance of this game, but at the same time, he said we need to work to enjoy it. So he needs to do a little bit of winning because that would help him to enjoy it a little bit more. But they're looking forward to being back here and potentially the role players especially playing a little bit better on familiar home court. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, who struggled a little bit in Phoenix, for them to be playing a little bit better so that they can have a little bit more of a cohesive unit and try to get on the board in this series.
Well, Malika, as you mentioned, you talked to Giannis. You had a chance to sit down with him yesterday, and you talked about a number of things, including how he's matured as a leader.
You said that you feel like you've matured over your time in the league. How has that served you?
I'm still going hard, as I said. Like, that's who I am. I should not be playing a game 6-7 days after I almost was out for the year. But that's who I am. I'm like, well, I don't care, And there's people that help me manage that drive, because sometimes that drive can throw you off the cliff. That's who I am. And that's who I'm gonna always be, not just in basketball. That's how I am in life.
And Malika, you've covered Giannis closely over the last 3 years, his 2 MVP seasons, and now this berth in the NBA Finals. What have you noticed about his leadership style and how it's evolved?
Well, it's been interesting, Cassidy, because this has been a tangible shift for Giannis, right? He's always competitive. He always wants to leave everything he has out on the floor. But over the last couple of days, last couple of weeks, even this season, I asked him about it because you seem a little bit different. You seem a little bit lighter. Is it fatherhood? Is it just growing up a little bit? And he said he knows what he wants a little bit more in the league. That has been a change for him. So he said, you heard it, I'm still as competitive as I've ever been. That's always going to be who I am. But he's learned how to rein it in potentially a little bit, be a little bit smarter, work smarter, not harder. When sometimes he was just working to work, he's learned how to listen to his body, how to put that work to good use. And that's been a shift that we have seen in real time with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure to check out Malika's full interview on our ESPN YouTube page. And of course, on the sidelines tonight on ABC. Thank you so much, Malika. Have a great call.
Thanks, Cass.
All right, back with Perk and Jacoby here. And guys, Giannis was talking yesterday about not trying to put too much pressure on yourself. Like he's been joking around a lot in these media sessions. And he said just at the end of the day, if we tell ourselves over and over, it's a finals, it's going to stress us out. We just need to remind ourselves that it's still basketball. And Perk, obviously you've competed in the NBA finals and everyone's different, but what is the championship mentality in your mind?
And see, this is where Giannis lose me at, right? Look, he's a great player, hell of a player, but this is where he has to learn to have that killer mentality. When you're in the NBA Finals, it's not all about having fun. It's not all about playing freely. It's not all about playing random basketball. The finals are supposed to be stressful. If you care about winning and not just happy to be in the finals, it's supposed to stress you out. You're supposed to lose sleep at night. That's what used to go on in the locker rooms I were in. Guys used to be stressed out during the finals because you know you're that close of actually capturing the hardware, getting that trophy, that you're 4 wins away of actually being an NBA champion. It's supposed to stress you out. It's supposed to drive you. You're supposed to put pressure on yourself.
Yeah, you have the juxtaposition of Chris Paul saying this is the most important game of their season. You want to call it 20. What do you want to say, Jacoby?
I need a 20-second timeout because, Perk, I kind of disagree about this. Giannis is in a position where he's like, what more do you want from me? I put up 42. I was 15 from 22 from the floor. I put on a legendary performance, and he didn't have help. I feel like him expressing these sentiments is actually trying to relieve his role players. He's trying to make it light to relieve his role players, to make Jrue Holiday comfortable, to make Chris Middleton comfortable, to make Bryn Forbes, Pat Connaughton comfortable, Lopez comfortable, because Giannis in Game 2 put up a legendary, historic performance, and he just needs help. Someone help him. I think everything he does is not for himself, but for his teammates.
But hold on, Jacoby. Listen, let me tell you something. If you go down and look at all the greats that had historical performances and they lost, they come to the interview and they say, I need to do more. My guys need to do more. They might go call their teammates out. This is not time to be friendly. This is not to try to make light of anything. This is time to go in there and say, hey, we may not get this opportunity again. Do you understand how hard it is just to get to the promised land, is what I call the finals? It's extremely hard. Some guys never even touch the finals, let alone win a championship. You have to embrace this. This is the approach Giannis need to have. I'm not taking nothing away from his dominance and what he did in Game 2 and that performance he put on, but you have to go out and you have to address your teammates, and you got to stop being so friendly. Forget making light of it. We need to capitalize on this moment and call some guys out.
And all you got to do is just look across the court at Chris Paul to see how hard it is. In 4 of the last 6 years, CP3's teams were eliminated in a Game 7. As I mentioned, he called this the most important game of the Suns season. So, Perk, how vital is it for the Suns, and maybe more importantly, CP3, to try to end this series quickly?
Because CP3 know how important it is to put a team away, right? He knows that if he come in and steal game 3, that the series is over, and that's the obvious. But he also know that he's 36 years of age, and he knows that he's 2 wins away from winning his first ever championship, something that will take him to high levels as far as him being a all-time great. So he's embracing the moment. He's staying in the moment. And what he's doing is he's relaying a message to the young guys on his team that's saying, hey, we're not going to get comfortable. Forget those 2 wins that we had at home. We were supposed to win at home. We got to focus on this game 3.
And no team has ever come back from a 3-0 hole in the NBA Finals. And, of course, only 4 teams have come back from a 2-0 hole in the NBA Finals. Jacoby, if you're looking at this from CP3's perspective, and he's saying this is the most important game of their entire season, what type of pressure do you feel like that team is feeling right now to take this game 3?
I know that these games are on ABC and these games are on Disney, but dirty secret, this is an elimination game. This is an elimination game, and elimination games are the hardest games to win. And right now, if the Bucks go down 3-0, you said a bunch of teams have come down from 2-0, but how many teams have come down from 3-0? 0. This is an elimination game tonight. The Bucks' backs are against the wall, and that is the toughest win to get in the NBA when a team must win. I expect the Bucks to throw everything at this game. Every lineup, every defense, every strategy. They're going to throw everything at this because, like Conor McGregor last night, like you never know when it's going to change for you, and the Bucks need this win.
Yeah, but that man post-game told our Malika.
Say one thing?
Yeah, no, of course. What's up?
So look, let me tell you, Chris Paul also knows that it only takes one game to change the whole entire series, to change their mindset.
Yep.
Right now,
Yep.
the Bucks are lacking confidence. I want both of y'all to realize and think about this. Game 1, the Milwaukee Bucks defensive coverage was to switch everything, and they still got beat, right, by Chris Paul and Devin Booker, long contested tough 2s and 3s. Game 2, they switched up their defense and went back to the traditional drop big, guards get over the screen. And what ended up happening, the Suns adjusted and knocked down 20 or 40 3-pointers, right? So right now, it's doubt in the Milwaukee Bucks' head. And what Chris Paul is saying, you want to keep that doubt there. You don't want to give them no hope. They win this game. If Milwaukee win this game tonight, it gives them hope going into the next game, which is game 4 and then game 5. And you don't want to give a team hope when you got that doubt in their head.
Yeah, and the Suns have been able to counter with whatever has been thrown their way. And if we're talking about ending things early, I may have ended our fantasy league early with my game 2 performance as we welcome in the rest of our crew. From our studios, Christine Williamson, Treavor Scales, and Gary Striewski. And guys, I'm not trying to sound like I have it wrapped up after 2 games, but just look at these scores. I mean, Giannis and Mikal Bridges held it down for your girl in game 2. 150 points?
What's your Venmo?
Really?
What's your Venmo? What is your Venmo? I'll send it to you right now.
Y'all. But you know what, Jacoby, you're nice. You're nice there with 107 points. Perk though, man, still at the bottom. Campaign Drew Holiday just not getting things done for you. You said last show it's a marathon, not a sprint, but you have faith in your guys at all, Perk?
You know what? I just want to talk about how I fell so far with my draft picks in the lottery. I didn't get it, but I'm not here to complain. But here's the thing. Cam Payne is not even playing that much. He ain't played that many minutes in game 2. I'm like, man, Drew Holiday missing left-hand layups. You know what? I'm still going to keep hope alive.
Hey, Perk, I got a question. Listen, if you feel some type of way about Drew Holiday's lack of production, how do you think Giannis feels right now?
You're right. I mean, does anyone feel
Not
like
good.
one of their guys is due for a big game other than Perk?
I do.
Trevor? Christine? Okay.
Chris Middleton has big game 3s. The rest of the playoffs, he's averaging, I think, like 21.7. Game 3s, 31 points, 11.2. The points are it's somewhere around there, but he has big game 3s. So I'm
hoping
expecting him to step
Bobby
up.
Portis gets the crazy eyes.
just goes off. I need one game from him. I just need one from him.
Hey, Jacoby, you weren't the only one who was doing some research before this show, apparently. C-Dub was hot on your heels.
I saw that.
You guys were collabing on it.
She said, well, in game threes, when it is a Sunday, Chris Middleton averages 47 points. When it is a cloudy day in Milwaukee, he averages about 35.
Listen, I want to toss one to Cass real quick because, Cassidy, listen, while all of us are, like, looking up at your production, do you think this is sustainable for Giannis? He kind of has to have these games every single night if we're going to draw this thing out past 4 games in this series in total.
All I'll say is I'm not stressing. I'm not stressing.
She gave you the silhouette tee. She gave you the silhouette tee.
Right now.
She turned her shoulder towards you.
Yeah.
You know what? And I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to take a moment in basketball glory. I'm going to send it over to you, Christine. You take it away. I know you guys guests coming up.
Okay, great. You're watching Hoop Streams presented by YouTube TV. It's a little under an hour to go, and that's my guy. He's going to get buckets tonight.
Okay.
I believe it. We have a special guest on Hoop Streams tonight. We're welcoming in actor O'Shea Jackson Jr. What's up, Shay? And you're a huge Lakers fan. So we got to ask you about what you're watching in this final series. Obviously, the Suns beat your Lakers. So how do you feel about their run so far in the finals?
You know, the Suns beat my unhealthy Lakers. I just want to put that there. But it's I've always been the type of fan that if you beat me in the playoffs, you better make it all the way. You know, I don't want to lose to some bums. If you lose to the team of destiny, I don't know, it's just always been an easier pill to swallow. It's kind of how I felt in 2011 when we got swept by the Mavericks. The Mavericks went on to have a historical season, the best season in their franchise history. So, you know, you can't knock it. They're just a team of destiny. Suns are playing great basketball, and it's super annoying.
See, and now we at odds because I'm sitting here rooting for the Bucks because they beat my Hawks, and so now we got to root against each other. But to turn the knife a little bit further, Shay, if we look at this Chris Paul storyline, right? I know, as a Lakers fan, what could have been comes to mind. You know, CP3, the late, great Kobe Bean Bryant, and Dwight Howard pulling off very similar vibes to DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker. So is that a source of bitterness as a Lakers fan?
Man, I will never let that go. I'll never let it go, mostly because it's never happened in the history of the league. And, of course, the first and only time a trade is vetoed. It's against the Lakers. Thank you, Dan Gilbert. I appreciate you, by the way. But yeah, it's really heartbreaking. You know, I've always dug Chris Paul, except when he played for that other franchise. But it really hurts. There's no way around it. To think where a team with Chris Paul, Kobe, Dwight could have went. Yeah, it's going to be my biggest what if. As a Laker fan, I'm rooting for Chris Paul right now. It's about time. You know, it's about time he gets into that conversation of the best point guards ever, and you need a ring to do that. It adds to your legacy and your lore, and I feel like he's about to get it done.
Shay, the good thing about being a fan of a franchise like the Lakers is that there's absolutely no chance that they can stay stagnant. So even though there's been a year or two, they always reload. So I want to revisit this from our Friday show with your pops on Stephen A. Smith, and I want to get your reaction on the back end of it. Take a listen.
But a lot of people feel like Damian Lillard, Dame time, should be in L.A. with the Lakers. So what advice would you give Damian Lillard? Should you stay in Portland with your boy Chauncey? Or should you come to the Lake Show? Should you want to push and come to the Lake Show? I mean, what advice would you give Damian Lillard right now, Q? Who, by the way, is in Vegas right there with you?
Yeah, I mean, if he won a championship, he should come join the Lakers. You know, if he want to, you know, just score a lot of points and be the man, stay in Portland. But come win a championship. You deserve it. You know, he's given a lot to that city, so give some of that love to the L.A. Lakers, man.
And let's just get this out there. This by no way is Any kind of tampering, all right? Listen, that was your dad on Stephen A. Smith's show talking about let's make this happen. And this is like the first time that Dame Lillard hasn't 100% squashed any kind of rumors, sort of leaving it open as far as his future. So it's a silly question to ask you if you would want Dame Lillard on the Lakers, because of course you would. But like the realistic possibility of seeing that happen, you say what?
First of all, let me just say everybody should be a Laker. Everybody should just bless yourself and put on this purple and gold. I, as a fan, have watched with my own eyes 6 championships. That's more than 26 franchises. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. You want to come down to the Lakers. You want to make it happen. It's life-changing. Now, as far as us getting Dame anytime soon, unless it's on NBA 2K, I don't really see what we can do. We can pull off. I'm real good as a GM on 2K. I'm out of this world. But yeah, Laker fans, our franchise is known for kind of pulling off some magical things. The Pau Gasol trade is always brought up. But it is such a desire to get Dame. If I could get Dame, Bron, AD, you guys think I'm annoying now. I will be on everybody.
Yeah, you're getting greedy, bro. Super greedy.
Proposed trade.
Crazy.
Dennis Schroeder for
Yes. Yeah, where we signing? Where we ship the paper.
1 for 1.
I'm not gonna have plans for no current Lakers right now.
Oh no!
Throw it out there. See if anybody bites. I don't know.
Right. But right now, to get Damian Lillard, they can have Santa Monica. I'll trade Santa Monica.
Take the pier.
Dennis Schroeder watching is just red hot right now. And you think they can get back to the chip, though, if the Lakers sign him to that extension that he initially turned down, but now he wants it to go over 100 M's at this point? Like, is that the guy?
I mean, you don't want him to walk away, without getting nothing in return. Or if it is a situation where you're thinking about trading him, it's all about having those assets. Of course, you don't want to have a contract that people are scared to take. But, Dennis had there were so many moments throughout the regular season where we saw flashes of just pay that man. There were times where he was just a menace, Dennis the Menace. He was out there hooping, and, it kind of fell short. They kind of took him out of his rhythm a little bit when he got the COVID protocol and everything like that. I just want players who know what it is to be a Laker, to know what it is to go get it.
Oh, okay.
And get it done for the city. It is a lifestyle. My man Drummond, I don't need you trolling Laker fans on the internet. Stop that. I don't need that. I need you to come in and hoop. You're driving me crazy.
Listen, I know that ring is not a replica. Shay, this is the last one for me. That thing is the real deal. Let's get this into your wheelhouse, actually. The acting dynamic, even though we're still going to talk about Dame here, because Space Jam 2 dropping this week. Dame obviously playing a gigantic role in that. LeBron is in that. A lot of NBA hoopers turning actors, kind of in your wheelhouse. You got Boban, you got Kevin Durant, you obviously had Kyrie and Uncle Drew. So of that collection, maybe you've seen those movies, maybe you haven't, but which NBA star turned actor has sort of been your favorite?
It's always funny to see LeBron play a regular human, just a 6'8" giant doing regular things. But yeah, I'm a Laker. I'm not going to pick a non-Laker. It's LeBron James. LeBron James 1,000%. I didn't see Thunderstruck, but yeah, I gotta go with LeBron James. Shout out to Uncle Drew as well, but it's all Lakers over here.
Okay, so let's go back to some older stars, because this isn't a new thing. There's been NBA players in movies for a while. So Ray Allen, we got Shaq. He was no, he wasn't that good of an actor, but he was in a lot of movies. I was gonna say he was a good actor. He had a lot of street cred,
was
but
the
he wasn't
franchise,
really
baby.
the greatest actor. Kareem had a movie. So when you look back at NBA stars that were in movies, is there a favorite that you like, the movie specifically?
I got to go with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was, he fought Bruce Lee. He had the footprint on his chest. And also Airplane, Roger Murdoch. You gotta love Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And both those movies are classics. Shout out to Shaq, because Shaq is still out there doing it. And like I said, it's always a Laker. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 1,000%.
He had the longest inseam on a jumpsuit I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. Checks out there, Trev.
Yeah, Shaq and commercials is one of my favorites. Okay, so Suns up 2 in this final series. Who do you expect to win the game tonight? They're back in Milwaukee, maybe the Bucks.
I counted Milwaukee out against Brooklyn, but they prevailed. Also due to injuries. It's just been such an injury-filled season because of the short off season. But I don't know, it's looking pretty bad right now, Milwaukee. You're gonna have to figure something out. I don't expect this team to go down 3-0 in the NBA Finals, but it's gonna take something, real serious. Suns are out there running and gunning, and they have all the confidence in the world. So, at the end of the day, Lakers in 5.
Thank you so much for blessing us with your ultimate Lakers fandom. I've never met a fan go as hard as you. So thanks for joining Hoop Streams.
Oh, yeah. When you see me in the streets, it's Lakers in 5.
You already know what it is. Purple and gold all day.
That's right.
Love it. Thanks so much, Shay.
Salute.
Thank you.
That was awesome. We're looking at Devin Booker right now out on the court as we're about 32 minutes away from the start of Game 3. Of course, the Suns with a 2-0 lead over the Milwaukee Bucks, a pivotal Game 3 as Phoenix looks to take a commanding 3-0 lead. And back here with Jacoby, Perk, and now we welcome in Ramona Shelburne into Hoop Streams.
Hey.
Mo. So great to have you on with us.
By the way, I was listening to Shay. I saw Thunderstruck. I'm one of the only people that saw that. He said, which NBA stars who have made the move. You saw it too?
Oh, yeah. So bad.
You and me, we're the only two.
It was so bad. But I digress. You know what was the opposite of bad? Really good. How about that transition? Your article on ESPN Plus right now about the 6-year rise of Devin Booker. What did you learn about Booker's journey that has him competing in his first finals, in his first postseason run?
I'm going to tell you what, Cass, I did not know he was this good. I really didn't. We all have been covering the league the last 5-6 years. He was on a bad team. He just looked like a guy who had kind of empty stats. And I remember asking around, I went to Tyson Chandler first because he's the vet who came into the league with him. And I said, Tyson, did you know that he was this good? He was like, I've been telling people this the whole time. He said, he signed there as a free agent. And Devin Booker was a rookie. And in one of the first workouts that they had together, Tyson Chandler went into Ryan McDonough, the GM, and Robert Sarver, the owner, and said, guys, you don't need to look for another free agent. You don't need another star. You've already got him. You drafted him this year at number 13. And I think that's what was really incredible about Devin Booker is that people who have played with him, people who have been around during that 6-year rise of him being on pretty much bad teams with the Phoenix Suns, they all knew that he was that guy. It just took them putting the right pieces around him, especially Chris Paul this year, for him for us to all realize what apparently the rest of the league has.
Yeah, Jacoby, we've heard how Devin, wants to quote unquote be legendary, as Kobe told him. And in that article, in Ramona's article, there's a conversation between him and his former coach Earl Watson, asking him how good he wants to be, and he said he wants to be one of the best to ever play. Jacoby, did you think he was this good, and how good do you think he can be?
What is so special about Devin Booker is think about this. How many players do you know that finish with their knuckles at the backboard, can also run a pick and roll, hit threes, spot up or off the dribble or off a step back, and can kill you in the mid-range. Like, he has all phases of offense. It's a very small, there's probably about 4 or 5 players in the league that can do it, finish at the rim, shoot from threes, whether it's a catch and shoot, or it's a step back, or it's off the dribble, or it's mid-range, or you run a pick and roll through him. There's just so few players that can do what he does that he's been overlooked and underappreciated until right now in these finals.
And look, Perk, we heard all the cries of early on, can CP3 and Devin Booker, coexist, 2 ball dominant guards. But, Devin's father, Melvin, said of CP and Devin, they're the perfect fit. They're the perfect storm. They're the same person. They're so competitive. They're both dogs. And we're seeing them be a historic duo in this postseason. Why do you think this duo of Booker and CP has meshed so well, especially in these playoffs, Perk?
Well, they complement each other so well for the simple fact that you got to look at CP3. It's times throughout the regular season, it's times throughout the postseason, he doesn't mind deferring to Devin Booker. He looks to get Devin Booker off. CP3, long as he finished the game with 10-plus assists and a win, he's happy. Now, if he has to take on ownership of scoring some buckets, he would do that. But when you think about Devin Booker, CP3 knows what he has in Devin Booker, which was part of the reason that he went to the Phoenix Suns. If you look at Devin Booker over the last 3 years, he's one of the most prolific scorers in the game today. I mean, he's been averaging almost 26 points a game, shooting 48% from the 2-guard position. Those are phenomenal numbers. And see, when it comes down to me, I look at efficiency, right? It's only 2 other players that are more efficient, in my opinion, when it comes down to scoring the basketball like Devin Booker. And that's Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. Those are only 2 guys that I rank above him. But now you bring CP3, now you bring a guy like Jay Crowder, now you have Monty Williams, and now he's fitting in. But the thing I love the most about Devin Booker is that he is scoring those points, but he's scoring it in the system. He's not taking ill-advised shots. He's not looking selfish out there. He's actually playing extremely well. So, far as being a distributor and making others around him better as well, we saw when CP3 was out, he went for a 40-point triple-double, meaning getting his and getting others involved.
Yeah, I mean, we always talk about how Devin Booker looked up to Kobe Bryant, but he also looked up to CP. He used to take road trips when he lived in Mississippi with his dad to go and watch CP3 play in the NBA. Yeah. And now that they're teammates, he said it's just it's surreal for him. And Ramona, you also have an article on ESPN Plus about how it seems like CP3 has earned his moment in the sun and that it's almost poetic justice for him to be in this position in year 16. How do you sum up the culmination of his trials and tribulations and how it's led to his first finals appearance in 13 postseasons for him?
Cass, when you get to be my age, right, early 40s here, I'm still hanging on to 41 as long as I can, you get to see players who, when I saw them, when they come into the league, like I was at his press conference when he was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year, okay, in 2004. Chris Paul then gets traded to both LA teams, really. I mean, the Lakers and the Clippers in one year, 2011. And I'll never forget him doing this press conference with the Clippers when he finally gets introduced there. That was exactly 10 years ago, 2011. And we all thought, this is the chance. This is when the Clippers are going to win. This is when Chris Paul is going to win. He was 26 back then. The whole world in front of him. Remember Lob City? And I've seen all those 10 years that went by, and there's been so many years where they were close. Right there, and he would get a bad break, or somebody else was just better, whether it be the Warriors or the San Antonio Spurs. And now, finally, at the age of 36, when we all wrote him off. I mean, remember 2 years ago we were talking about he had the worst contract in the league, the most untradeable contract. And so to see him now, I saw him the other night in Phoenix. He walked into the room with a smoothie, right? He's gone fully plant-based. Like, we're all trying to do things for our health when we get to be this age. It's inspirational. I gotta be honest. I'm like, man, if he could do that at 36, we can keep on kicking here, right? We could all be young like this, I guess, if Chris Paul's able to play at this level at age 36.
Yeah, I mean, there have been times where I've thought about going vegan. But then I just realized I really like cheese and meat.
I know
like
you,
bacon.
I know you.
That's where that ended. But he is definitely an inspiration. That's for sure. Appreciate you, Momo. Thank you for coming on to Hoop Streams. And you know, like
Thanks,
one of
Cass.
the reasons CP has been so successful this season is because he allows his teammates to shine, right? And one of those people who's finding his way with this Phoenix team is that guy right there, Cam Johnson. Here's a look at how his time in the league has changed in the short amount of time that he's been a professional basketball player.
This pick is going to go to the Phoenix Suns, a result of the trade that we showed you a few minutes ago as we work our way to the back part of the lottery. Here's Adam Silver.
With the 11th pick in the 2019 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Cameron Johnson from the University of North Carolina.
He went what?
11th
Cam
in the
Johnson,
draft.
11.
Yep, it's right on the screen right there.
Wow. Wow. Wow, bro. That's crazy. That's so love, bro. Because if y'all know Cam, you don't know how hard Cam worked. And you know, it's a lot of people that doubt him.
I look at him, and I've told him a number of times, he's a starter in this league. And he has to see himself that way.
2 consecutive three-point shots put up and in by Cam Johnson.
James Jones was heavily criticized for taking him in the lottery, known as a shooter, but he is developing into much, much more.
Cam Johnson goes right at Drummond and finishes. Beautiful move from Johnson.
He provides so much more than just the shooting. His ability to play make, pass, attack the basket.
Oh, Cam Johnson up and under. Beautiful move.
Defense, big, strong defender. And he has the ability to move his feet and keep guys in front. He's a versatile player, high character, has an edge to him. The thing that I wish he would do more is just go to the hole and just punch it on people.
Jammed up there by Allen. Finds Cam Johnson. Cutting! And a Cam slam! Where did that come from? Who's that guy?
I've heard he shouldn't have gone here, he shouldn't have gone there, shouldn't have gone to Pitt, shouldn't have gone to North Carolina, should have been drafted number 11. I've heard it all. So, yeah, it gives me a little bit of chip on my shoulder, but for the most part, I'm just out here, trying to do my job, do my part, help our team win a championship.
Oh, yeah, we are about 23 minutes away from tip. My math is just awful. It's 7:37. The game's at 8 p.m. And the fans are hyped in Milwaukee to hopefully watch their team win one game in this series. We'll see how that happens. So we just saw that piece on Cam Johnson, and Cam, super interesting. He has a great story. Cassidy, Perk, and Jacoby were talking about how he's getting his master's. He's one of the key role players in this series. So what do you guys think about Cam Johnson? Where are you?
Overall, I am his biggest fan because next to Devin Booker, he is on my fantasy team.
Oh, fair.
So if we are awarding points for people who are pursuing their master's degree, I should then jump in front of Cassidy because Cameron Johnson is, of course, pursuing his. And that is not an easy thing to do in and of itself. But while you were in the midst of an NBA Finals, even more impressive. But I think what we can focus on and why we should be, not surprised with his ability to contribute on this team is he was basically in the NBA before he was in the NBA because he played in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you're in a program like that, you are automatically sort of just ahead of the curve. So like he's fitting in. He doesn't have to be the guy, but when he's getting minutes, he's the guy.
He's incredibly productive. He's like the perfect burst, right? Like you saw the type of plays that were in his highlight montage, right? Like going up on a reverse in the middle of the paint, like right on top of Jared Allen when you least expect it. That's like the benefit of a guy like Cam Johnson when he comes in and is that spark off the bench. But yeah, no, shouts to him getting the grad degree going because I would be asking for all of the extension. I would whatever excuse, I would just make it clear, hey, Professor, if you turn on ABC tonight, I'm going to be on there, so I'm going to get you your paper when I get you your paper.
I'm logging minutes. Trust me, I'm not just on the bench. 18 points thus far in the finals. And, of course, he's getting those extra minutes, too, with Dario being out. Monty Williams needs an extra body, needs more size in that backcourt rotation. That front court rotation, and he's filling
He's providing it, man. Yeah. He's providing it.
Maybe it reminds him of being in college because he's just hooping and going to school. He just wanted to carry that thing over.
It's really not that big of a
It's the same thing.
No, not at all.
Now he's getting paid for it.
Exactly. Okay, so it's time now for a segment that we are calling That's pretty interesting.
Checks out.
Okay, so today's pretty interesting bit of info is that Chris Paul and Devin Booker, with 113 points scored between them, have passed Steph Curry and Klay Thompson as the highest scoring backcourt in the last 50 years of finals history. There's been some chatter. The Suns are on the verge of a dynasty. Are we looking at the start of another Warriors-like run here?
Okay, so first of all, the fact that they ran past the Warriors backcourt in 2 games.
Right.
In 2 games. Bonkers. But I don't think we need to go that far with the word dynasty just yet, huh?
They ain't even won their first one. Hey, this is a great story, and yes, they are halfway to that mark, but we gotta chill out. Not just
halfway
to
the first one.
Thing. Yeah, not even with the dynasty thing, but like the greatest of all time thing, the legendary thing. We throw these words out here to describe instances, and it's like a recency bias that we all apply towards any sport. We just gotta chill out. Like, this will be a fantastic story if and when the Suns get their first championship. But then we're going to start moving the field goal post back next opening day. You know, it's like, hey, is this a must-win?
Yeah.
Because the Suns, defending champs, this is a must-win game.
Inevitably, they're going to play the Lakers, and we're going to have to ask, all right, is this to set the tone for the season? Is that where we're at?
What this is right now, which is a fantastic run right now.
With a young core, which, I think you can give credit to and, like, be excited about. Just like, hey, reel it in, dog. Just don't go that far just yet.
Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves. So one of the great moments in Game 2 that happened was a possession in which the Suns had passed the ball 10 times.
No, this was so pretty.
Before they got it to DeAndre Ayton. Here it is. Before they got it to DeAndre Ayton for the and one. 10 passes.
So I thought Mikal was going to take that midi right there. But then it kept moving. No. The ball kept moving. Bump fakes. Everybody, Hezzy, excuse me. One more. I was worried there too.
There it is. Okay, so that if you've been following the Suns all season, this type of possession is nothing new. This is 2021 NBA Finals Game 2. They passed the ball 10 times. Five shot fakes for that one. And the Suns involved absolutely everyone. They created enough space to keep it going, and then they left Ayton at the rim again, and he scored the bucket. May 7th, 2021 versus the Knicks. Jay Crowder draws the defender in with a shot fake while Ayton waits patiently under the rim, which leaves Ayton with a 3-on-2 situation.
I forgot about those jerseys. Okay, so like those sequences where it's 7, 8, 9, 10 passes, those are never drawn up, obviously. Those passes, for the majority of the time, come out of necessity because the shot isn't open or there is a hezzy in a situation like that. So while impressive, sometimes the defense is just playing good defense. So, like, let's not crown the Suns like the masters of ball movement at this point.
First of all,
it's good fluidity.
I was gonna say, hold on, you sound like you hating right now.
Wait, what?
Hey, I'm just going back to that whole point about being like the Suns being the new dynasty.
Fair.
They're also in the NBA. The other dudes are getting paid to play too. Sometimes it's just good defense. All right?
Gary is preventing sensationalism, and I can appreciate that for sure. I just, it's fine balance, right? We don't want to, but yeah, no, the Suns team is like been incredibly creative at times, right? And that's like one of the funnest things to watch with this team. Helps when you're healthy and you can rotate guys in like campaign to just kind of pick up the slack wherever they are left off when it comes to the injuries component. But like, again, it's fantastic basketball to watch, and that's why they got to this point in the season in the NBA Finals.
Like, not for nothing, like 2 plays ago, I'm pretty sure that was Tory Craig wide open. He could have taken that, but he decided to pass. I'm just saying, man, he
extra look.
That's what hey, they like to share the ball. Okay, so we want to shout out Twitter user Slim Riggings for this one. We were all absolutely mesmerized by the euphoric Suns fan enjoying the Mikal Bridge breakout night, which prompted him to post this legendary Suns trinity of fans. So this is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
You think that third guy even knew he was at the game?
Nah, bro.
What?
Game was in Phoenix. That boy was on Mercury.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to have fans back. I mean, we had like some fan moments that were very discouraging, but these are great. Have we seen any better fans than the Suns fans in the postseason.
Well, okay, first of all, I just want to stop down and comment on those jackets because those were so clean. I want a good starter jacket that has that pop of the old school feel. I just wanted to acknowledge that, if nothing else.
Yes, and Suns fans right now, they're taking the title for fans of the playoffs. I mean, it all started with Nick McKellar in Denver, in his defense, quite literally, Suns in 4. And that doesn't just apply to the Denver series, right? They're 2 games away from doing it again. So, yeah, shout out to Phoenix fans, which right now your baseball team's shook. Cardinals are on the come up. So I'm saying, man, this is the good thing for the desert. I'm with them.
Yeah, 20 runs last night, huh?
Everyone talk about it.
Yeesh.
Okay, let's talk really quickly about another topic that we were talking about pre-show. Scott Foster is officiating tonight.
Oh, yeah, Trevor went down a rabbit hole. So please.
We're not a conspiracy theory trio at all. However, Chris Paul is 1-11.
Yeah.
When he's officiating, so what do we think about this, guys?
It's not great, right? Like, it's just one of those things where people are like, there's no way you can do this to Chris Paul again, right? Like, he just kind of trying to get back into the groove. Everybody's celebrating him, and then he just gets Scott Foster thrown on his plate for an NBA Finals Game 3.
Like, at what point, though, does a coincidence become a conspiracy?
We ain't got to do that.
It's not 0-4. Nah. 0-6. Well, okay. 0-10. Wait a minute.
He's been extra vocal about it too. Like it's wild.
Speaking
all
of
of
conspiracy, do you think birds?
No. Cut him off. What do you have?
Anyways, one thing we do know is that the Bucks are going to need their fans, and they're also going to need their role players in the matchup tonight. The role players have been big for the Suns to go up 2-0 in this series. Take a look.
Kicks it out to the corner. Cam Johnson again. Here comes Giannis. Poked away by Cameron Payne. And Bridges with the steal. Ahead to Booker. One man to beat. Blocked by Holiday. But Ayton on the slam as Cam Johnson's hustle kept it alive. Treavor comes away with the ball. Nice feed. Bridges. The cut and the finish. Mikal Bridges having a game of his life.
Back with Perk and Jacoby, and he's no role player. He's a star player, and that's Dave McMenamin live from Milwaukee.
Many.
Killed it. Dave, we got some news.
How are y'all?
Oh, can you hear me okay? Because I hear it's loud in there.
Yeah.
You know, those
it's
those
loud, but I got
fans.
you, Cassidy.
Okay, great. Because there is some news that crossed that Tory Craig listed as available heading into tonight's game, which is surprising because that injury looked bad in Game 2. What more can you tell us about how these last 3 games, or days rather, have played out for him?
Yeah, Monty Williams said that Tory Craig's one of the toughest dudes they have on the team. So the fact that he couldn't re-enter Game 2 after that knee-to-knee collision with Giannis Antetokounmpo was really concerning. But he's rehabbed it round the clock. Obviously, the swelling has gone down, and Monty said he had a really good day on the court, found some rhythm in his shot, and they're going to rely on him because think about, they lost Dario Saric in Game 1 of the NBA Finals, a guy who was playing around a dozen minutes per game in the postseason, playing the 4, playing the 5. Tory Craig allows him to play some small ball center and also play the 4 and the 3. And so it was a big lift for the Suns to have him because they'd have to drill down deeper to their bench and go to a guy like Abdul Nader, who was out for 3 months, if they didn't have him. So it's certainly a good thing for the Suns going into this one.
Yeah, because the Suns' depth inside, may be one of their biggest flaws or something to pay attention to, which it really doesn't seem like this team has a lot of flaws. For all the people that saying Bud needs to adjust, the Suns just seem to counter for everything. And Dave, I want to go back out to you. What do you notice about how this Suns team has just adjusted throughout these playoffs as you've been, front row and center covering them for most of the postseason?
Well, see, Cassidy, the thing about this Suns team, there's utmost confidence because they feel like they have the proper preparation. They go through their practices hard when they have them, but if it's not that, it's really staying focused on film sessions. And they recognize that, of course, Game 1 wasn't going to go the same way that Game 2 would. Obviously, Game 1, third quarter, Chris Paul picking apart the switching schemes of the defense played by the Bucks. Game 2 is completely different. They're playing a scrambling style defense. They're also stunning more and blitzing the pick and roll rather than switching it. But because they felt like Monty Williams prepared them for those inevitable changes, that they could go with the flow of it. And they feel like the same thing for Game 3. And they have a script to follow from Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals where They had a chance to put their foot on the throats of the Clippers and win in a Game 5. They lost it. They feel like they had to make up for that opportunity that they lost by coming in tonight and playing with desperation. And honestly, I think this is going to be a really tough out for the Bucks tonight. Yeah, they're home. Yeah, they're going to have a raucous arena. Yeah, they're playing their first home finals game in 50 years. But this Suns team will not be afraid of the moment. I can tell you that much.
Absolutely not. And Jacoby, look, you know, we just saw PJ Tucker, Bobby Portis warming up there. Those are two guys that Perk said earlier in the show that need to step up for the Bucks. And role players, they always do better at home. You know, we saw the Suns enjoy that benefit in games 1 and 2. So Jacoby, who are you expecting to step up tonight for the Bucks?
Everybody says role players play better at home. That's something that we've heard for our entire lives. But you know what? We need the star players to show up for the Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo had 42, was 15 for 22. He needs help. We need Chris Middleton, Jrue Holiday to step up for the Bucks, and tonight they will. Because don't sleep on the fact there's been a little bit of extra rest. There's been days between Game 2 and Game 3. In those days, Giannis feels better. Jrue Holiday's been looking at film. Chris Middleton's been looking at film. They've been stewing. They've been dying. They've been biting at the bit to get back on the court, and I'm excited to watch them perform tonight with that raucous arena that we can barely hear Dave McMenamin through. I think they win tonight.
And Perk, how you feeling about Batman, Robin, and Alfred at this point?
Well, you know what? Look, I feel like Jrue Holiday has to come to the finals. I think Chris Middleton has been getting unfair criticism for the simple fact that he did have an off game in Game 2. But let's not forget, he had 29 in Game 1 and shot over 50% from the field in Game 1. So in this series, he's only had one bad game. I feel like Jrue Holiday is the X factor for us when I look at this big three, right? When you look at them, they brought Jrue Holiday in to get them over the hump. He's supposed to be a guy that's supposed to take pressure off of Giannis and Chris Middleton. And we have saw that in flashes, but we haven't saw it consistently. And I feel like tonight is Jrue Holiday night to outplay CP3.
Perk, I want to stay with the Bucks and their key guys to step up. I mean, they seem to find some success when playing Brook Lopez. Only 28 minutes last game. Brook seems to be a tipping point for the debate amongst, you know, fans and armchair analysts, if you will. Some want the Bucks to go big. Others want them to go small. What do you think, Perk? Is the answer more or less Brook Lopez?
It's more Brook Lopez, but it's more Brook Lopez in the paint. And they have to give that man the ball. He's been producing. He has been doing everything asked of him when he's in the game. And it's unfair for the simple fact that I get it. You have to sacrifice to Giannis and stretch the floor. But when they do establish Brook Lopez in the paint, they have had success. And then, by the way, look, think about this. This game playing right here. You have Brook Lopez and you have Giannis in the paint, dominating in the paint. It's a chance to get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble. The Phoenix Suns lack bigs right now, especially with Cyrus being out. If you get a chance to establish those two in the paint, you get a chance to get DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble, chance to get him out the game, which benefits the Milwaukee Bucks.
I want to switch gears really quickly and get your thoughts on Team USA, Dave. They lost an exhibition game last night to Nigeria. This is a Team USA squad that featured KD, Dame, Tatum, Bradley Beal. They'll pick up Devin Booker, Jrue Holiday, and Chris Middleton after these finals. How bad was this loss in your opinion, and you still like them for gold?
Well, first of all, give credit to Mike Brown for having his guys ready to play. Mike Brown, obviously the Golden State assistant who is coaching Nigeria during this exhibition run. And I put it on you, Team USA schedule makers. You bring the guys together for a training camp that starts on July 6th. And many of these guys were playing up until a week or two ago in the NBA playoffs. And so it's not like they've had the time to get their rhythm back, get their timing back, or get to know one another as teammates. Why play an exhibition game your fourth day together? It just doesn't make sense. Now, again, all the credit in the world to Nigeria. That's a team that Team USA beat by 43 points 4 years ago and beat by 83 points 9 years ago. So obviously a really strong rise by that nation. But for Team USA, it's got to be playing the right style of basketball come that France game at the end of the month when the Olympics actually begin. They're going to get there, but maybe this will be a blessing in disguise. Popovich said, hey, we're going to learn from this thing. We better, or we'll be in trouble. And I really believe that they will. Because guess what? The good thing about last night, Kevin Durant looked like the best player in the world. And guess what? They have Kevin Durant moving forward.
And those are facts. Dave, we're going to let you go so you can, stop plugging in your ears so you can hear us. Enjoy the game. And we really appreciate you coming on Hoop Streams.
Thanks, everyone.
Perk, Jacoby, I want to pick up this conversation real quick with the two of you guys. Jacoby, what were your thoughts on Team USA's loss quickly?
It doesn't mean much to me. I think they'll end up winning gold. They've got the best basketball players in the world. I think something like this happening early in their training camp schedule is good for them to make them realize that, you know what? You're playing professional basketball players. You're playing real basketball players. You need to show up every single night with your best stuff.
All right, let's bring the whole crew back as we're minutes away from the start of Game 3, 8 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. And guys, you know who's also back? You talked about it. Scott Foster. Chris Paul-led teams have lost 11 straight games when Foster is officiating. They did win one game versus the Clippers, but that was when Chris Paul was out with the coronavirus. I want to get your thoughts on this, Perk. I mean, you've played in Scott Foster officiated games. Should the Suns be worried about this?
Well, I mean, look, I think this is a mental thing for CP3, and obviously him and Scott Foster have beef, and we get it, right? But me being a former NBA player, having Scott Foster ref games, here's the thing about Scott Foster. He doesn't care who you are. He officiates everyone the same way. And we all know that CP3 sometimes get away with kind of having control over officiating a little bit. When I say that, he gets away with things that other players don't get away with, but you're not going to get away with that under Scott Foster watch. I watched him take up Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. He doesn't care. He officiates the game the right way. He doesn't have a hidden agenda, so let's stop with all that. He goes out there and he does his job night in and night out.
It's a fun sidebar. It's a fun sidebar conversation. I do want to talk about, the Deer District. It's brought something to the Milwaukee Bucks this postseason. It's an area outside the arena where fans can come together and, of course, watch the Bucks. We've seen Bucks fans out there, throughout these playoffs, and this is a shot of them, when the game was back in Phoenix. It's similar to Toronto's Jurassic Park, which, Hoop Streams got to see firsthand back in the 2019 NBA Finals. Trevor, you vibing with the Deer District?
I am, but I gotta give him a little shade because the name is not quite Jurassic Park. I think the vibe is absolutely there, but the name I think they dropped the ball on, and I feel for it because they had a good thing going.
It should definitely be Nuck if you Bucks. That's what their area.
Okay, our producer Chris,
Ah.
our producer Chris wanted Buck Wild.
Buck Wild.
Really good.
That would be a really good one.
I think, Jacoby, it should be Deer Garden.
No.
Yo, see, I'm old, man. I'm just worried about the bathrooms and the beverages, like the 2 Bs. You can't get beverages, you can't go to the bathroom. I ain't going.
Yeah, it looks awful to me, too. I would never in my life go.
Look, space not being a factor. Right? If I ain't got my personal space, I'm out.
And that's why Jurassic Park reigns supreme, because you guys remember being in Toronto, we were up on the riser.
Yep.
Direct entrance into those doors for the beers, for the beverage, for the bathroom. So we are, boom, right there for the triple B. And I don't see that anywhere in the Deer District. There's no riser. There's no quick exit. So
yeah,
give me Jurassic Park.
And I'm a Midwest girl, but Milwaukee isn't exactly Toronto, which is one of the great international cities.
Oh,
yeah, Toronto is an amazing city. To your point, but we'll see. What kind of vibe is going to be going on in and around Pfizer Forum. But let's talk about what's going to happen on the court. Perk, what's your prediction for tonight?
I got the Bucks winning in great fashion tonight. I think they're going to win by double digits. I think they're going to play well as a team offensively and defensively. I got the Bucks winning in great fashion.
Great fashion. Jacoby?
I just can't see the Suns playing like they did in Phoenix. They're not going to hit that many threes. This is going to be a Bucks game. It's going to happen. Like, this is going to be the Bucks because you know what? 3-0, no one's ever come back from that. No one has ever come back from that.
Christine?
I am going to go against the grain, and I'm going to say that the Suns are going to win tonight because I just feel like they're hot right now. And I don't know. I'm going to keep talking about the Kardashian curse. I just feel like they're killing it.
I respect it, Christine, but you calling the series there, bro? Like,
yes, I know. I know. Suns in 4.
I'm not
Suns
quite there.
in 4.
I want aggressive with it. Wild aggressive with it.
All right, this is the only stat that I'm going to offer on this show. Yes, we keep talking about how the Bucks went down 0-2 in that previous series against the Nets, and they ended up winning in 7. The big X factor is that backcourt was injured back after the series. No James Harden, no Kyrie Irving. This backcourt is healthy. They're thriving. They're crushing it. Give me the Suns tonight, which means it's going to end up being Suns of 4.
Wow.
I feel the same way. I think the Suns are wanting to step on the necks of the Bucks. And they're going to go up 3-0. I'm not saying necessarily Suns in 4, but it's going to be Suns up 3-0 at the end of the night.
Love it.
That's going to do it for this edition of Hoop Streams presented by YouTube TV. Log into your cable providers to watch the NBA Finals Game 3. We'll see you back on Tuesday for Game 4. Thanks for watching.
Holla.